welcome back to the show. May is Military Appreciation Month, and it's a time that we reflect on the dedicated service of military members within our community. Now, throughout the month, we celebrate and appreciate the contributions of servicemen and women and veterans from all walks of all ages, and also works with their families. And we're pleased to have sharing with us from the Veterans Program Liaison of Visiting Nurse Service of New York, Sung Yoon. And Sung, thank you so much for joining us. And first of all, thank you for your service to our country.
Oh, thank you so much, Darren. Thank you for having me. So I do work as a veterans liaison for Visiting Nurse Service of New York. And just like you mentioned, we do serve veterans of all ages and their families. What we do is we help provide information to not only the Bronx community, but throughout the New York City to make sure the veterans and families are getting the benefits that they're eligible for. So a little background about me. I enlisted in the Army right after the 9/11 attacks after high school. So I was just 17. So I enlisted as a combat medic, and I wanted to make a difference being able to give back to the country. And after I finished my boot camp and my medic training as an EMT, I was still too young. I was still 17. So they sent me to a non-combat unit, which ended up being the first Army medical hospital at Walter Reed in DC. And after that, I did speak Korean fluently. So they sent me to Korea and other duty stations. So after my military service, I moved to New York City, went to Columbia, and joined Visiting Nurse Service a few years later. But my military experience allowed myself to learn not only about different cultures and religions, but all aspects of life. And it really taught myself to just be able to give back to the community because community has done so much for myself and others as well.
And so how rewarding is it for you, a veteran yourself, to be able to talk to veterans, counsel other veterans, and give them that guidance? Having somebody that's quote unquote been there, done that, and have a t-shirt to be able to talk and identify with right where they are.
So, I mean, there's a lot of things that's relatable. We can talk about, things that we didn't like, we did like, how the drill sergeants were, under our skins. And it's really about getting to know each other. We learn it from young age in grade school to learn about your peers and your classmates. So same thing with veterans, learn about their service, learn about, their experience and get to know them as a person. And what they did before the military, after the military. And there's so much to learn from our older generations too. So these veterans, they have a story to tell. And I think if they're willing and and anyone's willing to listen to them, they're going to love to share their story.
Yeah, and I know you have your own experiences yourself, right? A lot of experiences where whether it's starting after 9/11, being that young officer, if you will, into the service, and then transcending into now VNSNY. Talk to me about what your experience has been like and bringing that to the workplace, because I think it's important. Everybody has life experiences that they bring, but how does your military experience come into play when it comes to your work?
So I mean, I enlisted when I was 17, not knowing much about the real world. But everything I learned in the military, learning patience, learning how people work differently, think differently, and there's whole teamwork that has to go into getting a mission done. So that I bring to the table where I work closely with my colleagues and my team to get the mission done, which is to be able to support our veterans and their families in need, when it comes to healthcare needs. And I think looking back, it's just being able to work with different cultures in the military allowed myself now in New York City in the melting pot to be able to really try to understand where they're coming from, whether it's religious background or their culture or their tradition, and to learn what not to do, what to do, that's normal for them, and to respect that.
Yeah. So we're seeing in the Bronx. We're also seeing in New York City. And so we do have a wide audience. Talk to us about ways that the Bronx could possibly be of help to the work that you do, and even on a wider scale, those across the city?
So, I mean, especially in the Bronx, we do have a great deal of Spanish-speaking Hispanic community where, they're very close-knitted. And, if one thing's positive, everyone wants it. And if it's negative, not everyone might talk about it in a positive light. But I want to share that it's okay to ask for help, regardless it's for yourself or, for your friend, family, neighbor, and to see what benefits there are out there, not only for veterans, but for the entire Bronx community. Because sometimes I feel as they don't ask for it, and no one really knows, and those that deserve and that needs the services do not get a chance because they just weren't aware of it.
Yeah. Are you seeing any common threads or needs on behalf of veterans that come through your doors that you go to visit in terms of this is something that everybody's talking about?
So, I mean, we have veterans of all ages, and I just encountered a 101-year-old World War II veteran. So,
Wow.
it's becoming a little bit more of a rarity to deal with World War II veterans as they're aging. I believe the youngest right now is probably about 95, 96 years old if they joined when they're 16. So, we need to be there for the veterans that, did serve, that fought for our freedom and our country. So as they're aging and they need our help, we're here to support. But I think it's more of a community that needs to support the veterans in need and allow other people that can help to let us know, or there's get them to the medical care that they need or mental health care that they need. And it takes a village, it takes a community to, because they might not be able to get the help themselves individually.
Yeah. Our veterans are sometimes an underrepresented population. I mean, they've done great work in service to our community, our country, fought for our freedom. And I think that more people should know about the work that they put in, the sacrifice that they made, and now today, the support that they actually deserve. When we talk about learning more and finding out more about the work that they need, or your work and the work of veterans, how do people go about accessing that?
So, no one comes back from active duty without, any physical or emotional scars. So they can utilize their local VA hospitals or vet clinics, if they need help relocating their military discharge paper, which is like the birth certificate in the military,
Mhm.
to get any kind of benefits or even a VA ID. It's a small step, but it really helps to know what benefits there are for them. So even though they might be opposed to going to the VA, I recommend all veterans, regardless of when they served, to go to the VA. See if they are eligible for care and go from there. And for the veterans that are under our care, um, you know, we can you can go to VNSNY.org. You can call our direct number that will be posted as well later, where they can reach out to us for information. And we're here to be the community resource to navigate the benefits based on their eligibility.
Yeah. So before we go, I want to take a moment to just ask you, from your military experience and the time that you spent serving our country, what would you want the public to know when it comes to veterans?
So, I mean, veterans, I think any veteran, I think they really do appreciate even a small, simple thank you for your service. I don't think anyone has saying, oh, I don't appreciate it. So the Memorial Day is special and dear to most of our veteran community because we have, brothers and sisters, men and women who served and gave the ultimate sacrifice. So Memorial Day is not only the, start of the summer for most of us. It's really to remember and honor those that gave up their lives fighting and defending our country and our freedom. So I want people to know it's not just one day a year, but it does affect their families, and our other veterans that experience it, firsthand. That it's 365 days a year, but it is even a small gesture of saying, thank you for your service, appreciate your service. It goes a long way, and it might make a Veterans Day because they might have never heard that before.
Yeah. Well, we know 365 days a year, our veterans definitely deserve our attention, our love, and our support. But we know that May is Military Appreciation Month. So we want to tell you, first of all, that we want to tell you, Sung, thank you so much for the service that you've given, not just as a veteran, but carrying it on even further and helping veterans out at VNSNY. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. So anyone interested in volunteering with our visiting nurse service program, they can feel free to go online at vnsny.org or call 1-800-675-0391. And we'll love to have, all volunteers of all ages work with us and work with our veterans.
Thank you so much, Sung. And again, if you didn't catch that, yes, you can find out more about VNSNY's veteran services. All you got to do is go to the website, and that is vnsny.org. And again, that phone number, in case you missed it, 1-800-675-0391. We want you to stay with us because guess what? We do have more open coming up. We'll return right after this.